We recorded Some Gave All almost as a demo for the album. I wanted to use my band, and I made records a little different than the norm of what the Nashville system was. And they all loved it, and said we need 9 more. Well, I had the 9. And we were ready to start cutting in June of '91. And somebody, my producer, handed me a little cassette, very primitive demo of a song called Don't Tell My Heart. As soon as I heard the demo, I said, I love this. I worked it up. We started playing it in the bar. Ironically, found out that it was written by a 2-tour Vietnam veteran, Don Von Tress. And when I met Don Von Tress in Nashville, and I said, man, thank you for writing that song, man. I just love it. That thing feels so good. And he said, thank you for writing Some Gave All. And he told me his story. And Don Von Tress became my best friend and still is to this day.
But the name originally was not Achy Breaky Heart.
No, sir. It was called Don't Tell My Heart. And it was called Don't Tell My Heart even after we made the video and they were getting ready to release the single. It was called Don't Tell My Heart. Had it on my set list and everything, Don't Tell My Heart. And right in the last, that inner voice inside kept saying, Cyrus, you know that the name of that song is Achy Breaky Heart. You know it because all the people that was in the bar, the patrons, different people, they would always come up and say, play that Achy Breaky song, play that Achy Breaky song. Nobody ever said, play Don't Tell My Heart. Right. And in the last moment, I told Von Tress, I said, sir, forgive me, but I said, I just want to ask you this. I said, have you ever wondered if the name of that song should be Achy Breaky Heart? And Don Von Tress said, I don't care what you call it, just put it out. And everybody at the record company said, yeah, let's go with Achy Breaky Heart. And I'm glad they did. I think that was part of it.
No doubt you're glad they did.
Yeah.
Don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart. I just don't think you'd understand. And if you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, he might blow up and kill this man.
Did that really stun you and surprise you, or did you have an inkling that it might take off?
All I knew is that there was something special about that song. And sometimes you make music to find that common denominator with an audience that just feels like a party. It's like Old Time Rock and Roll or Honky Tonk Woman. Any of those songs, when you play them, no matter what's going on in that club or that venue, you play those songs, usually the dance floor will get packed.
Right.
I knew there was something about Achy Breaky that as soon as we'd play it, the dance floor would pack. So it felt like something, that could move people in a positive direction. It felt like something special, but I wasn't sure.
Well, it certainly became something special. One of the all-time selling great songs. Brought back line dancing, for one thing. It was kind of close to my own heart. But, all right, so you have this enormous success. You're making tons of money, more money than you ever thought you could, right?
Well, I lived in my car, you know, when I recorded that song. I lived in a Chevy Beretta. I don't know if you've spent much time in a Beretta, but there's not a lot of room.
No, I spent time in pickup trucks, but a Beretta,
Yeah.
not so much.
Right, okay,
a little
good.
too small.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm with you on that.
But I'm interested in talking to you, particularly when you have that big a success, that young. Sticks in my mind, it may be one of your sayings. When you get that hot, you're almost bound to go down in flames.
Yeah. You know, for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. I didn't write that law, but I know it's true. And you can't have something that creates that much passion and that much goodness for there not to be a flip side of that coin. That's just the way it is. I think a lot about Dolly, Johnny Cash, George Jones, Carl Perkins.
Waylon.
So Waylon, who became my best friend. All of these guys and girls said the same thing. Put the music first. Let the music be your truth. Every one of those great artists always came back to truth in the music. And for me, and as Achy Breaky was hitting, I was writing songs and living songs for the next album. I knew that that moment of who Billy Ray Cyrus was at 92. It was just who I was. That guy, out of that bar, I'd done it for 10 years. There was a realism to that. I knew that it was that realism and that love of music that helped me make it through that decade. And I said, you know, Cyrus, all your heroes are telling you the same thing. Do what you do because you love it and keep it real and let the music be your truth. So I leaned heavy into that, Dan, and as an artist just continued to make the music. You know what I'm saying?
During that period, after Achy Breaky Heart, did you or did you not fear, listen, no matter what I do, I'm not going to be known as a one-hit wonder?
Yeah, you know, I would have, except my second single went to #1, and then my third single went to #1, and then the first single off the second album went to #1. So I maybe have more #1 records than any one-hit wonder in history. You know what I mean? Like, I may have the record of that. I didn't like people or the media labeling me because they really didn't know me. Waylon Jennings said it best. He said, if people would just know you for who you are. Waylon said, you know the definition of an outlaw, son? I said, what's that, sir? One who has been outlawed. Welcome to the club. Okay, Waylon Jennings, thank you. I needed to hear that.